What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here with another review, doing X-Men Blue number 21, and this is part 2 of the Poison X saga, crossover saga, with Venom. The first one was the X-Men Blue annual number 1. If you haven't seen my review of it, hit up my channel and watch it. I did not like that one. I actually enjoyed this book. This book was actually a lot better. It surprised me how much I liked this book. So in the annual number 1, the time-displaced Cyclops, his dad is a space pirate that was attacked and taken over by a symbiote wearing crew. So they thought it was a good idea to pretty much force Venom to come along, since he is the only like symbiote person they know. So they pretty much kidnap him and take him to this planet of the last known kind of spot. And it was very kind of Star Wars-esque with the space cantina. And this kind of picks up right where that left off, where they were kind of trying to find a lead to find Scott's dad. So you get kind of the art in this, it's not anything to write home about, but it's decent. Like, you get some, it doesn't look awful. I'll say that. So you get this, like, these kind of generic symbiote henchmen in this bar. Fight's gonna break out, obviously, Venom. But what really, really surprised me about this book is this over dialogue, that's this like inner monologue that Scott's having. And it really shows him more as like a person I care about. He talks about kind of the struggles, of kind of being a leader, dealing with, I'll show you, kind of dealing with your own mortality and so forth. So these guys come in. Jean kind of tells everyone, "Hey, let's be calm," and Scott's like, "I think we're past that." And Venom's just like, "Here we go." So you get this. My one gripe about this book are the action scenes are real choppy. Like, they're not put together. Like, one scene doesn't bleed on, and I'll show you in another fight scene in here, but it just isn't cohesive. So you kind of get everyone taking their shots at these symbiotes, and Scott gets kind of run through with some tentacle spikes. Then this guy is kind of like holding Jean hostage, and everyone's still kind of fighting. But this is what I like, kind of Bobby actually doing something decent. He builds like an ice wall, like right between Jean and the symbiote, and kind of deflects him. Meanwhile, Angel gets Cyclops out of there. And again, I'm not familiar with X-Men Blue, but like, why does Angel have fire wings? Like, and they're like tech fire wings. Like, he's a mutant. I'd almost get it more if he actually had like wings of fire. Like, unless these control the fire, maybe. I don't know. Somebody let me know if that's the case. So you get some fights, and this is where poor editing comes in. You have Venom shooting his web from the underside of his wrist, when everyone knows Venom shoots his web from the top side of his wrist. Come on now. That's a sloppy mistake. So he pretty much webs up the door to buy a little time, and he sees this guy who he was in the annual, kind of just a little shady fellow, kind of in the corners. So Venom kind of tracks him down and is like, "Look, you're going to give me the answers to the questions, that I want, like where are all these like symbiotes coming from? And then you get, again, this like inner dialogue from Scott. I'm pretty sure I'm dying. Again, could have done better than a red box, but I'm bleeding out on an alien world, no less, surrounded by, well, I'd say aliens. And again, another thing that surprised me too is the dialogue in here was actually very good. Like, Bobby didn't annoy me. Everyone kind of had their own little thing. There was one spot coming up that that the dialogue was like, ugh. And it's not. It didn't like. It wasn't like an SJW cringy. It just, I didn't understand it, and it didn't make sense in the characters that I know. It just, so another problem I had is like Beast is like almost non-existent in this issue. He like pops up, but I had forgotten about him, and then this happened, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was reading this, I thought this was like Peter Parker on this alien world, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be like a clone of Spider-Man, on this alien world. But no, that's just Beast. But that looks exactly like a 90s drawn Peter Parker. So they get Scott to safety, and again, he's kind of having this inner monologue how he's gonna be dying soon, and all he wants to do is spend more time with his dad. And they even make a where is it? I think I passed it, but they make a really good reference. Oh, right here, where he says, but I haven't had enough time with my father. Before long, I'm going to be forced to return to the past, and I'll be forced to forget him. So, one, that lets me know that maybe they are going to be wrapping up these time-displaced X-Men soon. A little nugget. I don't know if that's like for sure, but one can guess. So then this is the dialogue, this panel right here. And again, so Jean being pretty psychic's like, look, I can use my telekinesis and pretty much stop his pain receptors, stop the bleeding, and kind of seal the wound with telekinesis, but it only holds it, doesn't heal it. So then Beast says, I could cast a healing spell. Now, when I first read that, I was like, are you that nerdy that you're like, magic? And somebody was, inevitably, somebody was going to be like, this isn't a game, you dummy. But I guess Beast does have some magic ability, because then Bobby's just like, I don't know if that's a good idea. What if you lose control again? What if you conjure up some alien demon queen and decide to make out with her or whatever? And it's funny because even the last part of that you would think be like, oh, Bobby, I actually kind of chuckled at that. But again, I didn't realize Beast was somehow magical. So then Warren's like, I don't think we were followed, but of course Venom was able to follow them because one of them is bleeding. And he's like, look, you guys are pretty easy to track. And so Venom's like, hey, I have a lead on a guy. And Bobby's like, how did you get a lead? He says, you're a stranger in a strange land, just like us. How did you manage to uncover a lead? And he said, let's just say, I can be real persuasive. So, I mean, that's pretty badass. He just tore that dude apart, to get his information. I want to skip some pages because to get to the fight scene kind of at the end, they go. So essentially, they track down the lead, which is this Haze Mancer, who is selling symbiotes to kind of like the highest bidder. So they break in, and so you get this panel. Venom jumps in, and here are some really good key points that I hope pay off in this series. So Venom attacks, and this one robot's like, one of your symbiotes escaped, and he's like, nah, that's not one of mine. At least it hasn't been for a long time. I was wondering where it ran off to. And Venom's like, wait, what did that guy say? So that right there, at some point before Secret Wars, this guy had possession of the Venom symbiote. So then you get the X-Men. Now you got to think, coming through a wall, so their backs are to the exit. And this is where the action just gets choppy. So then somehow Beast, again, being completely, non-existent in this issue, just gets hit in the back. How? Your back is to the exit. Like, how do you get hit in the back? And you have people behind you. Who's not watching your back? Then Iceman becomes a giant ice monster and starts, like, ripping that guy. Angel kind of flames him. Jean and Scott are over here. This is happening. That, and it's just like, how do you get from each one of these? Like, how did Warren, like, did he get shot? Like, where, like, why does he fly into this? Like, is he hit? What's going on? It's very unclear what's going on with this page. But of course, the symbiote gets out, and you get a nice little surprise on the last page. I actually really liked this. I would suggest go ahead, either watch my review of the annual, go pick it up. I recommend this. I'm going to be picking up the Venom, the next, I guess, part 3 this week, and I'll have a review of that. So subscribe over here, watch some more videos, hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.